A long day finally comes to an end. I've got Shaun Pollock here, and welcome to Cricbuzz Chatter. Long day for the bowlers, long day for the commentators because we're in the eastern part of India. But I can say that with a smile on that face, we know who's beaming because it was a long day for the bowlers. It was a hard yak for the bowlers. 6 wickets on day one, 489, a big score. And also keep in mind that they are 1-0 up. So India had to make all the moves if they have to win this game from here on and also to tie this test series. So a big ask. So let's have a look at how this day has panned out and we'll get to Shaun Pollock for his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we love Test cricket, isn't it? I mean, we love this game because things can change. We had an expectation of what we'd see today, and I think Indian bowlers, I think South African batters, everyone had the expectation. We go to the ground, you have a chat with the management of South Africa, and they felt disappointed that they'd lost the 6 wickets, just 247. They thought, well, maybe we've missed an opportunity here. We should have get someone to dig in and get a big score. And then what happens? You don't count on Senuran Muthusamy being the one to go and get 100, a maiden test 100, brilliant performance from him. You don't count on a partnership with him and Verena. You don't count on Marco Jansen coming in and getting his highest test score. And that's what makes it so interesting, Test cricket, the unpredictable nature, how there's expectations of what you think should or shouldn't happen. And then it doesn't unfold that way. So it was a nice, interesting day of Test cricket. I enjoyed it, and I do enjoy the position South Africa found themselves in as well. Just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at the way the day panned out and what you mentioned about them being pretty watchful up front and then to be thoroughly entertained later on, I think it's the first bit which actually sets up the second bit, because if you're watchful and you put the miles in the bowler's legs, and then comes the easy part, something which Marco Jansen capitalized on. But just looking at the day and the players, Senuran Muthusamy 109, that partnership with Kyle Verreynne 88, Marco Jansen, poor guy. Could have got to his maiden 100, but he was running out of partners and a nothing shot really. But what stood out? Which partnership stood out for you?
Well, just if you look at that scorecard, you see the top six that all made the contributions, didn't go on. So the Muthusamy going on, and I think the foundation laid with him and Verreynne. It was important. They had to deal with a new ball. Yes, it didn't do as much as it did on day one. The spinners didn't get as much turn. There wasn't as much nip. There wasn't swing through the air. But they still had to fight through that second new ball. And I think India would have thought, what were they, 1-2 overs into the second new ball? It's definitely going to have an impact. We're definitely going to pick up a wicket or two. So I think that partnership, particularly, as you say, it laid that foundation. They blunted the new ball. They blunted the energy of the day. And then they were able to cash in later on. And Marco Jansen loves to play his shots, but it had been set up for him to be able to do so because of what the other two had done. So definitely that partnership for me was the best.
And who would you say between the two was the man of plan or the man full of ideas?
I think Sen Muthusamy's got to be the man. I mean, what he did, the way he went about it, he looked unbothered. His defense was old-fashioned in many ways. He got stuck in. And he's starting to stake a claim just to be included as a batter. His selection dilemma is, we pick him because he can bowl a few overs and maybe get us some wickets. He got 11 wickets against Pakistan, so he's better than just the bowl a few overs. But he's kind of brings the all-rounder balance when it's spinning surfaces, maybe subcontinent. You're averaging 55 in 8 games. You've got 2 50s and 100, and your bowling average is 22 wickets with an average of 26. Forget the bowling even. Just as a batter, you're starting to say, hold on, you've got to start looking to consider me. My technique looks like I belong. I'm dealing with, he's only played 1 test match in South Africa. The rest have all been in the sub. So, I mean, obviously those conditions will be different, but he's staking a claim. I mean, it's a big comparison, but if you go down the likes of someone like a Steve Smith, when he was introduced, it was because he can bowl and bat number 6. And then his batting took off and he worked out his game and was able to contribute. Muthusamy is a lot older. He's 30, 31, but there's still been might be 4 years if he continues to play the way he does and has an impressive performance like we saw today, that he could average. I mean, no one in South Africa averages over 40.
No.
So the fact that he's averaging 55 in 8 games, it's not a small sample size, it's a decent sample size. So I think he's really given the selector something to think about, and good for him. He's had to be patient to get his chances. Now that he's got them, he's showing what he's worth, and good on him.
Yeah, when you think about the day and what India would have wanted ideally was to wrap things up, which didn't happen. That was because of a couple of partnerships. And I have to mention the second one, more so because of the fact that they are very much like Shrikant Tiwari and JK. They saved the day. They managed to escape tricky situations. and that is Marco Jansen.
And with a bit of flair.
And with a bit of banter as well, because you saw that celebration. We saw the number of times Marco Jansen had to change bats, and we saw Kagiso Rabada coming out. So there was a bit of everything over there. So they managed to actually get past a tricky situation, just like the other two did.
Sometimes you're faced with dilemmas, sometimes you're faced with issues. But can you just work as a partnership, feed off each other, and find a way to make a plan in order things, much like the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't watched anything yet. I just watched the trailer and I asked some of the guys in the commentary box, and they are very excited that the Family Man is back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they always enjoyed that series. They wondered where it had gone, but now it's back. So definitely on this trip of India, I'll have to have a look-see.
You need to start doing it because, look, like we said yesterday, the Family Man season 3 is back after, 4 years? So we wait, and it's streaming on Amazon Prime. So please go watch it, and also watch the dynamic duo of Shrikant Tiwari and JK.
तुम्हारा दोस्त का है? आता ही होगा. मुझे इस पे बहुत भरोसा है. तेरे सारे दोस्त मेरे को छोड़ के. इधर का एकदम स्पेशल नागा पाइनएप्पल्स है.
अभी 10 मिनट पहले तूने मोमोज खाया था.
यार मोमोज किधर निकल जाता है मालूम भी नहीं पड़ता. हाँ, तेरे को क्या प्रॉब्लम है? तूने तो जीवन के सारे सुख भोग लिए है ना. पहले बीवी, फिर बच्चे, उसके पहले गर्लफ्रेंड, उसके बाद में झगड़ा, सब. अकेला कौन मरेगा? मैं. सिंगल जीना, सिंगल मरना, इससे बड़ा श्राप नहीं है लाइफ में. एक बार यहाँ से निकल गया ना जेके, मैं तेरा स्वयंवर रचाऊंगा. प्रॉमिस?
But now, which character? You're saying I'm this and you that. Which character would be Abi? I mean, I'm a little bit cheeky at times. I've got the odd quirky comment to make. So what character would I be?
I think then you'll have to be JK then.
Okay.
JK is the...
Jacques Callis?
No, not Jack Callis. Not Jack Callis. He's Shrikant Tiwari's, what should I say? He's the man, JK works with him in the same department, and he's got a quick comment up his sleeve. And
so that'd be me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Cheeky, but very effective as well.
Good.
But let's come back to the sport and the test match today, day 2. So I need to put you in the hot spot. Tough day, as I said. Would have wanted to wrap things up pretty quickly, but looks like the game's moved away from India, or the test match has moved away from India. To go on and win from here is going to be mighty difficult. Anything is possible, as you said, in test match cricket. But what do you think went wrong for India? You gave 8 out of 10 to Rishabh Pant on day 1. Was it the pitch had settled down, tired bowlers, better batting? What would you put that down to?
Yeah, I think if you have a look at it, it's a case of surface change. New ball wasn't nearly as effective. I also think when you haven't played test cricket for a while, sometimes the ability to come up with plans C, D, and E is a challenge for teams. You always got plan A and B, which are easy to implement because you can't do those on a daily basis, like throw a bomb with the ball with a new ball, take wickets, spinners come on, take wickets, game wrapped up. I think it was tough going for them today. I think the surface was at its best for batting. I think they tried a lot of good ideas as to try and pick up a wicket. And I think, I don't know, personnel-wise, you kind of need on these days for someone to put his hand up and say, okay, I'm going to be the one who makes the breakthrough. You know, maybe you could have really tried to dry things up and bowled into the rough with defensive fields and see if that drew them into a false shot. But I wouldn't be too judgmental, actually, of the approach of India. You know, I'm always a little bit concerned in the modern era that, okay, maybe you can't find guys to bat on particular surfaces, and maybe on flatter bowling surfaces, there's not enough emphasis of how we can make inroads and be effective. But I don't think today was too bad. I think South Africa played well. I think the credit's got to go to them. They've also come up with this way of making a plan. And in the last 2 years, there's been 12 different batters who've got hundreds. And I think that's been impressive for South Africa over that time span. You know, normally your 4 or 5 top-class batters are the ones who always contribute. But have a look at that list. 300s for Mulder. You've got contributions, Landre Pretorius who's not playing. Dean Elgar, who was then. Corbin Bosch got his first one. Bedingham got 100. You know, Rickleton, Stubbs, Markham, they contributed. DeZorzi's got 2. Bavuma's got 2. So Senuran Muthusamy gets his first. So South Africa are finding the art, and that's why they've been successful. They don't have anyone who averages over 40, but they're kind of using game plan D, where people step up. The top 6, no one gets 100, Muthusamy produces 100. And that's what we've seen, and that's what you need in test cricket. So these tougher days, are when people have to stand up. And South Africa haven't had people do it consistently, but they have had 12 guys step up in 2 years and get test hundreds.
Since you mentioned tougher days, and it was a tough day for India, and I'm not critical about anything that happened. Yes, we've all seen days where you toil hard and you don't get a wicket, and you throw in everything and you don't get a wicket. But sometimes when you finish playing the game and when you're watching it from above or from afar, the one thing which I did feel, and that is something which I did mention on comms as well, is from a spinner's point of view. And that is something which you want these spinners to do, especially on tracks which are unresponsive, which are docile or feel docile, is can you beat the batter in the air? And that is something which is what we all learned growing up from some of the best spinners, because you didn't get turning tracks every day. And sometimes as a bowler as well, when you're playing county cricket or playing test match cricket, you have to figure a way to be in the game and bowl on days 1, 2 before the pitch starts spinning, possibly fag end of day 3. And the only thing I would say was they were a touch too quick. They need to figure a way to bowl slow through the air without beat them in the air with revs. It's bowling slow doesn't mean you just pop up something and it's just slow. It still needs to have that fizz. But that's where you create the doubt. I know Kuldeep Yadav can do that, but can Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar do it? It's 4-5 kilometers slower than what they do, but with some revs, whereby a batter is deceived in the air, he chips one or plays a false shot, something like that.
I get your point, and it'd be interesting to see if South Africa can do something different, because
I think Harmer can.
They might also face a day where it's difficult for them. So do they have the ability, having watched what unfolded and having had the batters bat for a long period of time, and say, okay, I thought these deliveries were difficult to deal with. Can they maybe find a way? So we'll have to watch and see. But I wouldn't be too critical. I think it was a good bet.
It was. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying that this is where the skill set comes. It's not just a tailor-made wicket, where you just need to rock up and put the ball somewhere. It's also on tracks like this where you have to think differently. You don't need a silly point shot. Like sometimes put a man on the drive, put a man somewhere, make the batter think, do something different with that flight and guile. That is why spinners are called flight and guile. It's not just rag alone. It's not just spin alone. The other thing which was interesting today was that Rishabh Pant got warned twice, and you could see a bit of frustration creeping into him, because that's not the Rishabh Pant we've seen. It's yes, he's not captain India too much, but first day or first test match as captain, and you could see him I think upset with a few people.
Yeah, it's been a good implication though to have this between overs. You know, you need to speed up. I mean, what did we lose? 10 overs.
8 yesterday, and I think 11 today.
11 today, and that's in the allocated time. So there has to be something in place where people get through the overs quickly, just to start them, to get the over done. And you can understand his frustration. It's the first time he's had to deal with the responsibility of that. And you know, when your guys aren't meeting the time requirements, you do get a little bit irritated. So yeah, I can understand where he was coming from.
Now it's that time of the day to go fast forward. We know where the match stands as of day 2. We know where the series stands as of day 2. And I know you're gleaming, gloating because of the fact that the last time South Africa did that was when you were here in 2000.
Yeah.
It's been 25 long years. Obviously, the WTC champions, they're in a great space as a team and as a captain as well. And they've done everything right today. So they've got more than one hand on that trophy, one hand on that series. 489 is a tall ask. Can India mount a challenge? Because tomorrow is day 3, normally seen as moving day. Where do you see this test match moving?
Yeah, I think a lot of work to do. So if we work it out in overs, so that's 90 a day, 270. You're going to lose 10 and over. 10
so practically, we've had 160 overs.
Yeah, but yeah,
2 days.
We've lost 10 every day, basically, on average. So we're probably only going to have 240, and you've got changeovers, so maybe down to 230. How can India make a challenge of it in 230 overs? They're going to have to score really quick. In this first innings in particular, I think the serve is still good enough to do that.
Yeah.
I think people like Jaswal Punt could be key if they can score quickly when they do get their opportunities to try and get ahead. Sai Sudarshan, you wouldn't expect too much from him because he's just trying to make his way. Jadeja could be positive. KL Rahul, I think he needed to maybe anchor the innings. Washington Sundar, how did they play? Yeah, so it's going to be a challenge. I think the service will be good. South Africa sit in the pound position, as you say. 1-0 up in the series. Got 4 at 90, basically 500 on the board. They don't have to force the issue. If they draw this match, they get a test series victory. India have to make the play, have to try and find a way to level the series.
Mm.
In saying that, you do get points for draws in the Test Championship. So they can't kind of be gung-ho in their approach, because if they do not perform and they throw this test away, South Africa get 2 wins and then they start to gather some more points. So they've got to try and push for the victory, but also make sure they don't just give away an easy test to South Africa. But South Africa got to be happy. I mean, they've maybe shortened the bowling department because they've just got the 3 spinners and the 2 seamers. So maybe not that many options, and it's not really offering turn as yet. I still think there's an opportunity, but India will have to come up with a plan. Get yourself a foundation laid, much like South Africa did, and then they can put the South African bowlers under pressure and have to score quicker, much quicker. Not Baz ball way, but just really positive enough to try and make up time in the game. As we say, probably 245 overs, 250 overs left in the match. How can you make yourself competitive and give yourself a chance to win?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is where everybody's mind would be, because think of what happened last year, 3-0 to New Zealand. You already 1-0 down, yeah. And also a game where you felt that maybe the last 4 are going to be wrapped up. It's not happened. It's been a very, very hard day's Test cricket for the bowlers. And as you rightly said, just looking at that playing 11 too, for me, it's like, how do you go about it? Yashasvi Jaiswal, great Test record, but doesn't have a great record against South Africa. So is there a bit of a hangover walking in, because you're thinking runs, you're also thinking opposition, shuffle in the batting order. Sai Sudarshan is back, so he also needs to make runs against better sides, because he lost his spot at number 3 and he's back.
Through averaging 30 in Test cricket, so he wants to score.
Exactly. And then you've got Jurel, who's been bumped up the order because of no Shubman Gill. Rishabh Pant, yes, Ravindra Jadeja, you know what you're going to get from them. They're going to be rock solid, as is going to be Washington Sundar. But Nitish Kumar Reddy too, coming back. So they need to find a way to be in the game. And if the opportunity presents itself, press forward. So it's going to be an interesting day's play.
Yeah, I think realistically, what do they have to look at? They have to look at maybe 325 if they bat the whole day tomorrow. You know, to put on 325 and 80-odd overs, to almost go to 4 and over, to try and give themselves a chance to make up more time, and a chance to win you. So you talk about moving day. I tell you what, it could be some good viewing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what we feel, and that is what we all hope happens tomorrow. And we will be here, as I said. It's a wrap today, but we'll be back with you tomorrow on Cricbuzz Chatter.